Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I'm a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you love. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. On this week's episode, I'm so excited to have Chris Sheppard. Chris Sheppard is an SEO and Google Ads genius, and he's personally worked with some of my closest business owner friends. So today we are going to chat about the power that SEO and Google Ads can have on your business, and also go over when to really know which is best or if you should do both. And then we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to kind of get this started on your own. And then we'll go into how to actually work with Chris so you can catapult your business into a much more busier season, especially into 2024. Chris, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself and kind of just give a little background of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And my name is Chris Sheppard, and I've been doing some form of marketing and entrepreneur for almost a greater part of 30 years of my life. Whether that's be a business owner or marketing my business or marketing other people's businesses, I've been in the marketing world for quite some time. And more specifically, digital marketing. I started kind of in around 2000, kind of when Google came online. Obviously, before that, I was a computer user and did a lot there. It was kind of in my family, but kind of worked my way up and have done a lot of marketing for everything to small businesses to larger corporations to kind of every kind of niche I guess you can think of too. It's something that I really like and enjoy, and it's something that I love helping people do. But most importantly, for me, my niche is really with local businesses and small business owners. I think that that's the most important thing we could do right now as kind of a community, is really to propel, get ourselves out there and kind of like, I guess, put fuel on the fire and ignite our businesses, so the big guys can't take it. But yeah, so I own a digital marketing agency called Pingpong, and you can find it at pingpongdm.com. So DM digital marketing, pingpongdm.com, and we do kind of a full array of marketing, everything from website design to SEO and Google Ads and email marketing, social media, that kind of stuff. And mostly what people come to us for, especially in like the health and beauty and even a lot of fitness niches, they come to us for help with their website and SEO. As you can imagine, website SEO, Google Ads, as you can imagine, it's hard for us to really do social media for, let's just say, your salon when you're there taking pictures and taking videos and you're kind of living it and breathing it. You could definitely send it to us and we could post it, but it's much easier and I think better for you, and I'll get into that pretty soon, but better for the business owner or whoever's behind the chair to do that kind of stuff. But we do everything from SEO, and that's kind of one of our biggest things that people come to us for, especially these days. It's kind of just taken over, and it's it has been known to be confusing. I'll just say that it's not.
Give the layman's terms of exactly like what is SEO, because I feel like it's this word that's kind of thrown around, and people don't really understand like what it is and what it means.
Totally, it's definitely had a lot of hype on it over the years, and I would say probably close to 2009 is when it really became very popular. And I mean, you'd get everywhere from like door-to-door salesmen walking into your business selling SEO to obviously, I'm sure everyone here gets tons of emails every day from agencies trying to sell them SEO. But SEO is search engine optimization, and it used to be that whoever had the most keywords on their website won for that particular keyword. For instance, if you were at a hair salon in Chicago, you would just load up the whole entire site with hair salon Chicago and you'd win. Obviously, Google has become way smarter and they've understood users and understood intent. And so now it's really intent focused. So if somebody's looking for a hair salon in Chicago, while that's a very, very competitive keyword, there's many, many other keywords that you could possibly rank for. And so we're no longer really stuffing all these keywords onto our website or our pages or our social media. Now we're being very relevant and very authoritative driven and very, as you probably see in this industry, very social media driven, sharing your personality, sharing kind of what's going on in the salon. That all has to do with SEO. And so when somebody searches for a business, and we'll just use hair salon Chicago, just because I'm right here and makes sense for me. Hair salon Chicago, there's so many factors that could be included in search engine optimization. And so if Google sees that you have relevant information, you have blog posts, you have social media, you have what we call backlinks, or these kind of like, these business pages like Yelp or Google Business Profile or some of these other things that might backlink to your website. There's a lot of different things that kind of go into SEO that help you, but it's no longer about the keyword. It's more about you and your personality and your relevance to who's looking for you. Hope that makes sense. There's a lot to digest there.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I don't think that I think people are so focused on just social media, and they don't really put a lot of effort or time into really kind of investing in their website, and they don't understand the power of a website. And I always say there's two ways that a client can kind of funnel into to finding you, and one is Google and one is through social media. Somebody who is Googling a new salon is actively looking for a new place to go most of the time, where people on social media really, they could be actively looking, but it's not a platform where they're going to search for a new business to possibly go to, right? Google always comes first. So I think in that sense, like when we know that, then why aren't we putting more time and effort into it? I know you've personally worked with so many businesses that I know, and people have seen such great results from what you do. So can you just share maybe some of the results that you've gotten for people, or maybe some of like some tangible tips that have worked or that people can possibly try at home to kind of just to see and gauge like how powerful this can be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, it's really about, before we even get into the technical side of SEO, you might want to understand kind of your personality and what you're trying to convey to somebody who's looking for you, and obviously what your services are, or what you offer. That's going to have a lot to do with how you do it. And I've seen so many times that, and I love it. I have clients across the U.S., and like I love like some of the West Coast vibe, and they really take their personality and they let it shine through their website and through their social media, and it draws in, the people that are kind of same to them. So I would say try to understand that first, and that's kind of part of your branding and your marketing. But more than that, I mean, if you're going to move forward with SEO, Google is probably it is the place. And so while you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing for Google, it's going to kind of trickle down and over to Bing. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about optimizing for Bing too much, but I would definitely start with Google, and I would go to Google's own platform, which is Google Business Profile, and I would make sure that I have that profile. I would make sure that I have photos of me, my team, my personality. Once again, you want to kind of let it shine there. You're going to get reviews. You're going to have questions and answers on it. You're going to have a really good description of you. You're going to have a link back to your website, your phone number, your business hours. All these are very critical, because what happens is when somebody, like you said, when somebody is looking for a particular service, I mean, they're going to Google first, and they're going to see you there. Or even if they find you on social, they're going to go check you out. They're going to find your Google Business Profile. They're going to look at your reviews. They're going to look at your photos. They're going to see what it looks like inside of your salon. They're going to see what kind of like person you are, your team is. Does it mesh with them? A lot of this, I mean, it's like yeah, they're going to see all those things and kind of determine if that's a good fit for them. Now they're going to go to your website and they're going to start understanding what's next. And as you probably know, in today's world, you have it's like split second to capture someone's attention. So when you go to somebody's site, it needs to be pretty quick and understood what they should do. I know that we're in a world right now where online booking is popular. But I always suggest if you can have a phone number, have a phone number. If you can have someone who can answer the phone, do that. If not, have a place you can have a form to have somebody put in their information. But if you absolutely have to have online booking, which don't get me wrong, I think that's amazing and it works. It's really, you have to strategize how you do that very delicately because it has to be in the best place on the site for somebody to go to, and you have to make it easy. So those are kind of some of the places I'd start: the Google Business Profile, understanding, how they come from that to your website, and then what are they going to do once they get to your website. That's really all SEO.
So I know you said that the online booking should be in a really clear spot and it should be easy. And I can honestly tell you, there have been so many times where I've gone to like book an appointment with somebody and I get frustrated by their booking site and I just drop it and go on to the next. I mean,
Yeah.
more than a dozen times. What's another common mistake that you see? Because I know you also do websites for people. What's another common
Yeah.
mistake you see that people make? Because I think a lot of people try to build out their own website because they don't want to spend the money. But obviously using a professional, they can set it up in a way where your SEO is very like impactful. But for somebody who is doing their own website, what is a huge common mistake that you see that really affects how people look at their business or even do business with them?
Totally. Yeah. And I think that so many people skimp out in this area because they think it's easy to go get a Squarespace site, which it is. And I like Squarespace. I have nothing wrong with it. It's really just, you have to understand, like you said, conversion rate optimization. So where are you putting elements on your website for a visitor to understand what to do next? And that's really the whole intent of all the marketing, is to make them become a client. And so most search on their mobile device, and you'd be surprised how many folks build their sites and then they don't really look at them on their mobile device to see if it makes any sense. And then before you know it, I've had so many of those come my way, and then it's like, oh, well, we just need to fix a couple things here, and you'll be rocking. And so what I would say is, first, make sure it's responsive. So responsive site just means, and most are these days, means that it is a website that can be seen natively and correct on your desktop, your laptop, and adjust to a mobile device, whether that's Android or iPhone. It will adjust automatically to fit all of those different platforms and devices. And so what I like to see is, if you can't have a phone number, it really needs to be something where you're having a book online, and we call it a call to action. A book online, either that floats at the bottom. You've probably been to websites on your cell phone where you've seen kind of this button float at the bottom when you're scrolling, or maybe at the top. You can have it there that's front and center so they understand what you're trying to do. You're just asking a question, and that's the simplest thing. Book online. The other thing I see people skip out on is they kind of build these massive one-page websites and think that that's going to do. And I really feel that, especially small business owners, we need to build out individual pages. So a home, an about us, our services. If you could build out an individual page for each of your service, that's even better. Your portfolio is going to be huge. It's easy enough now just to embed your Instagram feed in your website, and you've got it right there. Obviously, contact's going to be huge too. Even if you can't take phone calls, you really need to have a form on your website, because people are just going to have questions. And I mean, like, let's face it, it could be the biggest client ever, and you might have missed them just because you didn't have a form on your website. So these are some of the things I like to see. And of course, when we talk about search engine optimization, we're kind of going further into the technical aspect of things, where we're making sure that we have the proper wording and content on the site. We're having meta titles and meta descriptions, and titles and H1s, H2s, H3s, all these kind of technical terms that get kind of crazy. I'm always happy to explain those to whoever I work with as well, just so they understand those. But yeah, it can go pretty deep. But those are the things I like to see from people.
Okay, because you've touched on this quite a few times. So there is such like a huge hoopla like in our industry now where a lot of people want to get rid of their phone
Yeah.
and they don't want to answer a phone. I personally do not. I have a phone. I do not want to get rid of my phone because I see the value in it, even though we don't have someone here answering it at all times. The ability for somebody to call and to talk to a human being, I think for the type of business we do, because we do high-end extensions, when somebody has a question, I feel like they want their question answered. And we have a cell phone. So if somebody does call, one of my stylists see it, they can do a copy paste text that gives them all of the information that they need in order to get to where they need to go, either booking frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
Now, you work with so many different people, and I know you've worked with people who have phones and who don't have phones. Do you have any data or any proof or any information on how either one affects the business? I'm just curious to know.
Yes. So I don't have a specific number in front of me right now, but I can tell you from years of doing this, and I've been in other niches and industries other than, health, beauty, fitness. I've been in home service industries, been in some other industries throughout the years as well. And the one thing we could say is that you, the phone call, like you said, is going to be so important because you're asking someone to marry you really fast if you're saying book an appointment. Oh, by the way, you need to put your credit card information in. And oh, by the way, if you don't show up, it's going to be $50. And oh, by the way, there's all these other things. And people are going to get scared. They're going to leave. And if they have no way to ask questions or talk to you, or we call it the 3 pillars in marketing, know, like, and trust you, which you probably should have already done to this point through your website and through your social media. But if they do have a question, they have no way to ask those. Or if they want to just call and say, hey, look, there's concerns too that people have because they've had a particular thing done to them in the past and it didn't turn out the way they expected it. And now they just want to kind of make sure, everything's cool. So I would say that the phone number and or at least a form is going to be huge. Now, I can tell you the folks that have appointment only on a schedule online, I think they're missing out on a lot. Now, I know there's kind of like a trend in the industry to have that. I know there's particular coaching and different things that, systems that have that the way it kind of schedule online. Now, I don't think it's horrible, but I think that if you're only going to do that, you really need to understand how that works and the process that takes. And when you send someone to your website, it needs to be very clear the action you want them to take to schedule online. I also wouldn't put a bunch of hurdles in their way either, because now if you're asking them to create an account on a third-party tool, schedule online tool, if you're asking them for a credit card, if you're asking them all these things, they're going to bail pretty quick and they're probably going to go to your competitor.
Yeah, I think a lot of salon owners, they are blind to their client process because they've never actually gone through it themselves. And I always say, even if you don't go through your own client process, go and book an appointment with another salon who has a similar process or, has a completely different process, and see how it makes you feel and see how frustrated you get and see how easy it is and see, what that process is like. Because if it's annoying and frustrating for you, or if it stirs up any sort of like angst or anxiety or just like irritation, then it's going to do the same for clients. And I think that a lot of people overlook the client process, and people want fast and easy right now, and they want information so quick. And if you can't do that for them, you're right, they will go straight to the competitor. I think for us, our clients are spending, up to $2,000 on their hair for extensions. So, we want to make it as seamless and easy as possible. And I want them to be or have the ability to actually talk to a human if they have questions, because it's a big investment. But I will say that, taking a look at what your target market is too. For us, I know our target market, we have women, I would say in their mid 30s all the way until their early 50s. So having that ability to make a phone call is, I think, really important for that target market and that age group. Where if you have the age group of, 18 to let's just say late 20s, early 30s, having a form might be okay for you. So I think, again, that goes into, which is what you do, really knowing your market, really knowing how to market, who you're marketing to, and then utilizing the things that will be convenient for that generation,
Totally.
if you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
totally. I want to speak on that real quick, just the avatar and understanding your client, because I think that that's so important. And it kind of goes back to the very beginning of understanding your quote unquote brand, like who you are, your personality. Um, like, the younger generations, they might not want to call, they might not want to talk to you, but they're going to want to text for sure. And if you can have, I mean, there's all these third-party apps, by the way, that if you can utilize something, I think it was called Salon or something like that. There's some other ones out there. If you could utilize something like that, where it might not go be your actual direct cell phone number, but it could be another number. And I've even encouraged some of my clients to pass the phone around and just be able to respond to text messages. And I've seen a difference in that too, because again, you're able to kind of connect with the people that are okay with texting, and they're still getting their questions answered, and being able to have that communication. And then if it needs to be a phone call, it could be a phone call.
yeah, we just have a line that I added onto my phone. Well, we have the Salon account, and then we have a line. So really, to add a line onto your plan is not that much money.
Yeah, right.
For
Yeah,
the ability to text and then make phone calls if necessary. So
sure.
I think a phone is a non-negotiable for me anyway, and I think it's something that every business should have. How you utilize it is your choice. You can do text only, you can do, phone calls and text. You can simplify your text messages by having copy and paste responses, or using, a third
Yes.
party where it auto texts back. There's a lot of options. Okay, so I would like to go and dive into Google Ads, because I think here's another area where people kind of miss out on opportunities, and they don't really understand how Google Ads works or how it could be beneficial for their business. But I want to start there. But I also want to talk about the benefit of using a professional when it comes to doing your Google Ads. Because I think a lot of people, and I've done this myself, they'll, go to YouTube, watch a video on how to do it, but they're not truly optimizing it in a way that's truly effective for their business. So I would love for you to touch on that.
Yeah. Well, yes. And so Google Ads, the name of the game is, do you want the highest amount of conversions for the least amount per conversion? And so how you do that is you obviously strategize around that. And so Google Ads allows you to show, and I'm sure everyone's seen it. It's at the top of the page, the bottom of the page. Now, if you're on your desktop, it could even be some ads in the middle of the page. If you're on your cell phone, same thing. And it allows you to get in front of literally people looking for your service in real time, in your, let's just call it your service area. Like people, they would drive X amount of miles to come to your location. Even avatars such as their age. Some of the things are going away in Google just because of privacy acts. Like it used to be, like a long time ago, we can kind of like see household incomes and different things, and you still kind of can, but a lot of that's going away. But really, even just being able to show ads for your services, to the people who are looking for them right now, to an actual age group of who you think is your ideal client. And so the way you do this is you build out these ads, and you make them very compelling, right? And so it kind of goes back to the call to action. You want Google to show your ad because it is it's clearly the most it's clearly the best one, I guess, out of all the competitors to show to that person right now. And what they're going to do is they're going to see it, and it could have a phone number attached to the ad where they can call you right away. It could have a link attached to the ad where they can go to your website. Now, we'll get into this in just a minute, but I wouldn't just send them to your homepage, but I'll explain this in just a second. Or there could be some other site links and things in the ad as well. Now, there's obviously tons of keywords that you can show your ads for. There's so many keywords around just hair salon near me, hair salons near me, hair salon Chicago, all of the neighborhoods that you service, all the different things. And so there's a lot of, I would say, a lot that goes into it before you run the ads, although it's not as hard as I'm making it sound. There's definitely some due diligence and understanding how and why you're running ads, not just, put something together and push the on button and then get mad because it didn't work. But yeah, and so this allows you to get in front of people looking for your salon or your business at this actual second. And so if they decide to go to your website, typically we send them to what's called a landing page. And a landing page is a page specifically built out for the ad. And it typically would not have, the header or the footer like a normal website would have, because what happens is folks get lost on your site. They'll start clicking around, the baby starts crying, or they have to go back to work, or something happens and they're gone. And then that's it. They forgot whose website they're on, and poof, it's gone. So I would send them to a very clear page. It doesn't have to be super intricate. It could be very much about your salon, who you are, what you offer. Again, if you want to embed some Instagram images, a way to contact, maybe even some reviews, some social proof is always great to have on a site like a page like that. And if you have a phone number, even better. And then they can call you and off to the races. Now, it's important to have someone who knows what they're doing for this, because, as mentioned before, I've seen a lot of times, and this kind of goes with Facebook ads too, and some other ads, Instagram ads. Folks do them, and then they get frustrated and they swear that they don't work and they're never going to do it again. And that's what I don't want to happen, because it really is a gold mine out there if you could do it correctly. And if you could really, get like cost per click down to $1. You can get cost per conversions down to $7, $10. Would you pay $7 to have a new client? I would all day long. And so that's kind of the key to this, is getting those costs down and making that kind of that return on investment matter. And so that's kind of what we help do for our clients.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too, is people don't really understand like what they're paying for when they're actually like investing in the ads. So having someone who really understands and being able to bring that down so you get the most value out of what you're spending, I think is so powerful.
That's right.
So if you have somebody who like wants to kind of take this next step and they're kind of hesitant, because we know salon owners always say like, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. Where I think, sometimes this is one of the things, like, you can't not afford to do this in this day and age. And they want to just start with one thing. So either SEO or Google ads. Do they have to do both? And if they don't have to do both, how does somebody choose what would be the best for their business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so this is the way I like to explain it. Google ads, right out of the gate, you could start them today and get calls today. It's great. I think that everyone should run them all the time. SEO is a long play. It's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months it depends on where you're at. If you're in the middle of LA, then it's going to take you a while. We've ranked salons in LA, and it's taken us probably 4 months to do that. But it's more of an investment. You've got to wait. You've got to wait for Google to kind of like have its algorithm crawl your site and figure out where you're going to be in the search results and all that. And then of course it's just always going. It's month over month we're doing work in SEO, and so there's a lot more behind it. But Google ads is something I would encourage folks to start. It's relatively easy to get into, and cost is down there too. And so even if you had like $500 or $600 a month to spend, and you wanted to get more appointments, that'd be an easy way to do that, almost guaranteed. Now, the only way it wouldn't be guaranteed is if you're not following up or answering your phone or all those other things, but you'll definitely get leads from those. And so I always encourage people to go into Google ads, make some money, and then reinvest, and then kind of just reinvest and go into SEO, make sure their website's good, make sure it makes sense to the visitor, continue on with social media. Everyone's pretty much doing it at this point. Step up your game. I'm sure everyone's using Canva and a lot of different tools there to be able to make your salon kind of look professional. And then you could roll into email marketing and client retention, which is another huge one that people don't focus on. You've already paid for your client. it's really cheap to keep them sticking around for 5, 7, 10, 20 years. And so you definitely need to be doing that. But yeah, that's kind of the order I would work things in.
Okay, I have two more questions.
Okay.
So my first question is, rumor has it that you can link your Google ads to your competitor, and if somebody Googles your competitor, your name will pop up. True or false?
It's true. Yeah. So you can actually put in your competitor's name as a keyword. It happens all the time, and your competitors are probably doing it to you too. And so that's another point of this is you have to have very compelling ads. And now, because you could put images in ads, some videos in ads, your logos in ads, I mean, you can make it very stand out and make sure that they're clicking on the actual business that they meant to search for. But yeah, you can search for you can have your competitors use your keywords. It happens quite often.
Okay, perfect. And my last question is, I think a lot of salon owners who've been around for a while, going back to websites, and their websites are pretty outdated. Now, if somebody was to come to you and say, I would like you to redo my website, and let's say that they're ranking pretty high, with their SEO,
Yeah.
if you use a different like host or website platform, does that affect the SEO search, and do they have to start from scratch?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it could. And I'm not going to say yes or no because I've done this a lot. And so what we have is site structure. So the way your site is structured, all the pages on your site, how they're linked together, all the things. Now, if you could stay as close to possible when rebuilding your site to your old site structure, it typically could do pretty good for you. Now, if you're starting a whole new site and all new pages and now you've got 404 error pages hanging out there that Google indexed, and now they're like, oh, this, they're not in business anymore. And that's what it looks like to Google. Google thinks, well, this site's not around anymore. We're going to send it down, push it down. So there's ways to do it. I would always suggest if you're going to do something like that to ask an agency first of how to do it or if they can assist doing that.
Okay, I lied. One more question, because AI is like a huge topic right now.
Yeah, sure.
How do you see this like AI affecting like this area of like business? Like, because I feel like there's so many things that are like so much smarter, and there's so much more information, and information is kind of getting kind of pushed together and like worked in a different way. How do you think this is going to benefit salon owners and business owners for the future?
I think it's another tool, kind of like everything throughout all of the years. I don't think it's going to make anyone or any job go away. I only think there's going to be more jobs that come out of it. Now, let me say this: AI is so powerful, but you have to know how to use it just like everything else. I mean, and when you're doing AI, most people understand ChatGPT. And so it's all about the prompt that you give and all the information that you give it to get out of it. Some people go in there and say, hey, write me an email. And then it's like social media marketing and stuff. It's crap. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. And so there is a lot of benefit from it. But now we're kind of going from writing content to understanding how to write prompts and tools like that. And so that's going to be a huge benefit if people can figure that out.
Yeah, you're so right. Because I've put things into Chat GPT and I get so frustrated. I'm like, this is not what I mean. Like, why aren't you
Yeah.
understanding me? But you're right. It's how you actually word and utilize, the verbiage in your prompts to get the exact thing that you want.
Yeah, totally. And you could give it that's the other great part about like having a personality and having your brand. You could give it all of that data and it could write pretty hip, cool paragraphs. I mean, it's not all just, machine written looking kind of cheesy, or it could do that too. And so, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that if you haven't messed around with it, definitely it's free. Check it out and explore.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Okay, so how can people find you and start to work with you? Again, I have had people who have personally worked with you and have had amazing results. So I would like people to have the opportunity to kind of really like dive into your business and to work with you as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so you could find me on pingpongdm.com and then /elevate. Okay, and so if you go to pingpongdm.com /elevate, there's actually going to be I call it a free strategy. And so a free strategy session, consultation call. It's really just a way for someone to come in and talk to me, schedule something on the calendar and just talk through everything. There's no cost to it. There's not, I mean, I could kind of talk like I've been talking on this podcast and just talk through a lot of different ways that somebody could, maximize and build up their marketing in their salon on that call. Of course, we offer our services too, and we do have what's called the Hair Salon Power Play, and it's kind of like the full array of services. So it's everything from the website to the SEO to the Google Ads to the social media to the reputation management, and that's really going to offer if someone really wants to just go gung ho with their salon and just be out there and not have to worry about anything. That's a great way to start. But of course, we offer everything. So Google Ads, SEO, websites. I mean, if you want to start small, we certainly can facilitate that too. But more than that, I would love just to have you talk to me. So if you want to fill out the form at pingpongdm.com/elevate, I'm happy to talk. If you have questions or you're stumbled on something, I'm happy to talk through things.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so excited for this podcast because I think there's so much valuable information, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at opulentbeautypro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing. See you next week.